So, Bren Orton, welcome to BoatLife Live 2022. It's a real pleasure to have you on stage, and going to be telling us all about how you're winging it in your kayak. So welcome on stage. Well, winging it, that's a skill.
Yeah, cheers team. So happy to be here, so impressed with the show, and I look forward to checking out more after this. But yeah, this talk is called Winging It, and that's basically been my go-to strategy for the past 12 years. And
I think that's a good strategy.
I think so, mate. It tends to work out well for me. Do you have the clicker?
Yes, of course. I'm going to give you drive.
Cheers, mate. Anyway, does everyone know the term winging it? You know what it means? Some of us do, but here's the Google definition of it.
Read this out, yeah.
To wing it is an idiom that means to improvise, to do something without proper preparation or time to rehearse. People often talk about winging it when they have to do something difficult that they didn't have time to prepare, such as a speech or presentation, or the speech or presentation you're listening to right now.
Bren, you just made me realize I'm winging this completely.
Yeah, mate, in the spirit of things. Winging it has been my go-to strategy for the past 12 years, and that's started when I was 15 or 16 years old. Difficult times with my family and my mum and dad getting divorced and domestic violence and all this stuff. And all I knew that I wanted to do was to go kayaking and to follow my dreams to go kayaking around the world. But no one really knew how to do that. And when I talked to people, they told me it would never work, and there was no hope, and there was no money in it, and all of that stuff. And I looked like this at the time, and when I see it now, it's a whole different person. You know, you can really see sort of. I feel what I was going through at the time and trying to deal with stuff. And I made a decision when I was 15 or 16 to get out of my hometown and to just run away and go for it. And that's when Winging It started. And I ran away to Uganda. To the White Nile when I was 16 years old, and I had saved up the money from working on the building site over the summer, and I've been earning £3.50 an hour working as a tea and coffee boy and throwing bricks around and stuff like that, and I saved up the money. I went to the travel agents to try and book the ticket, and in comes a lad in like a full tracksuit and an envelope of money, and they didn't want to deal with me. And so I ended up using my nan's credit card, leaving her the money on the table, getting a ride to the airport, and disappearing to Uganda on my own, age 15.
But Bren, there's some serious skills here. You talk about when you first thought about running away and going kayaking. When was the first time you realized that kayaking was something you wanted to even do?
I was 9 years old. I was hanging out with my older cousins and the naughty kids, and they took us out of the city into the countryside, and we tried hiking, climbing.
So you didn't start in a swimming pool or anything?
No, we were on the lake in Windermere. It was freezing cold, and I remember wobbling around in my kayak and then feeling the kayak skid across the water and just falling in love with it. You know, it was a real From that moment on? Just loved it,
you were hooked?
Yeah, that's where it all began, and then, I was in the kayak as much as I could be. This is freestyle kayaking, so I'm like upside down in the air trying to do tricks.
So just explain, they use shorter, more versatile, smaller...
Exactly, mate. You know it. I don't know what a good analogy. It's like less like a big boat or a rib or something, more like a jet ski in this world, I would say. But anyway, that's a photo of freestyle kayaking, and I did that, and I just wung it and went for it, and it worked out. And the sport took me all over the world, and this is in Pakistan. And I just feel so lucky and so happy that I went for it, and I was winging it. And the big love for me was big waterfalls, and this is truly where that...
How many meters is that?
That's around 25 meters, which is a big one out in the west coast of America. And
so when you attempt something like this, do you know someone's been down it before?
Sometimes, yeah. Some of them are popular spots, just like in surfing, that people travel through to experience, you know, and other times you're trying to find new spots and new things to do, but there's no real guidance or anywhere to learn how to do that. You sort of just have to pay attention to what has worked for people before and just go for it and learn how to work with the water. So, yeah, went around, kayaked off some waterfalls, tried to do some new stuff. Again, that's freestyle kayaking, so I'm sliding off that rock and then kicking myself upside down and then trying to land back upright before I hit that other rock at the bottom.
So freestyle is doing sort of tricks in the air, getting popped up off stoppers.
Exactly, like wakeboarding and stuff like that. But good knowledge, mate. And life was going pretty well. I did a bunch of interesting things, but there's definitely downsides as well. Like this one, it's compared to what I normally do, it's really safe, very straightforward. But because someone owns this, and there's like don't kayak here and all these signs around, I ended up being fined £3,500 for going down that, which to someone that you know barely makes the minimum wage threshold, that's a lot of money that they fined me, and it was not worth it. I thought it was going to be incredible and I'd go really fast, but I didn't even go that fast. It was rubbish, and I'm still paying the fine off today. But you know,
listen, children.
Not that being fined that amount of money bothered me necessarily, because I live pretty cheap. This is me in the mud hut in Uganda.
And we've got a little close-up of your craft here.
Yeah.
That doesn't, to me, look like your normal canoe that I'm going to get into in a swimming pool or on a lake.
No.
Talk us through a little bit about why they're shaped like that and how they've...
And the kayak's shaped like that to enable it to do tricks. So it's very small with these small low volume ends, and you can get up, get aerial, vertical, all that stuff. And it's really like every single line is there for a purpose, and it's very different to a normal kayak.
And obviously very strong if you land on rocks and things like that. Yeah.
Definitely, mate. That's one of the fanciest ones I've ever had.
And what's it made out of? Carbon?
That one's carbon fiber. Yeah.
Wow.
Other ones are plastic and things like that. More waterfalls here, which is what I love doing. You make a lot of good friendships along this, you know, because you're really in potentially dangerous situations. You're dealing with lots of emotions, and you form really, really strong bonds with your friends. So these are some of my best mates, and we have our own crew together, and we make videos and stuff now. And
of course, you're strapped to your beloved GoPros.
Man, the GoPro is a crazy tool for what we do. It's just incredible. There's nothing else like it.
Now, I know that the audience will be wanting to find out, how many bones have you broken?
In total, I would lose count, but I've done my ribs 5 times, hand a few times, shoulders, back once, and yeah, it was...
And those are typical injuries for a kayaker?
Not really, no.
Being dropped on your head from a high height?
No, I mean, honestly, mate, I feel like kayaking's one of the safest sports you could ever do. But like any sport, when you start trying to push it, then there's bumps in the road to progressing and getting better. And
you're definitely pushing it, I tell you.
Trying to, mate. Trying to do cool things on the water and stuff like that. And that's just part of it. You know, you make a little bit of a mistake with forces off these big waterfalls, and something's going to break. You know, you're not going to be able to take a mistake like that and crash. But yeah, for the most part, kayaking's really safe. But if you push it and you start doing big waterfalls, then you have to accept the risk.
Before we carry on to some other amazing things you've done, I can see the next slide involves a swimming pool. And that's the sort of place that I would like to start. Just very quickly, just tell our public here at BoatLife Live how they would get into kayaking if that's a direction they wanted to go.
I mean, the UK is incredible for kayaking. We have so many clubs here, whether that's in a university or your local community. So you wouldn't even have to buy the equipment to give it a try. You could just Google what your local kayak club is and go down. And a lot of times they have taster sessions and stuff like that on. And that, I would say, is your best point to try kayaking. And yeah, otherwise, grab the equipment, be safe out on the water, and yeah, just give it a go.
Yeah, we're all about giving it a go here at BoatLife. You know, we just want to celebrate everything on the water and everything to do with water here.
Fantastic, mate. All about that. So yeah, that's when times are good. That's at the end of a really stressful week, chasing waterfalls, and we're hanging out in the swimming pool, living the best life.
And even in just tranquil water like this, can you do tricks? Are there tricks to be had?
In a freestyle kayak, definitely. These ones are slightly bigger. They're made out of plastic, and they're aimed at waterfalls and just being really strong.
You're going to tell me you probably get up on the hotel roof and slide down the roof into the pool?
Funny you should say that. Where is it? That's random shots. Okay, so here, you're on about the hotel roof. This is the hotel roof.
Honestly, I've not seen this before. Okay, right. This does not surprise me.
And this was all in the lead up to this waterfall, which is called Big Banana. It's 128 foot, which is almost 40 meters tall, and it's absolutely massive. And at the time, and still actually, no one in the UK had been over a waterfall that big. No one had broken that 100-foot mark, and I wanted to do it. And there are lots of obstacles in the way to doing this, getting the money to the flight, figuring it out, having the skill to do it, the strength to take the impact at the bottom. And one of the biggest ones was how to abseil. So you can see how I Googled it. I didn't even spell it right. I had no idea. But you have to abseil into the canyon above the waterfall to be in a position to kayak off it.
With your canoe on your back and your paddle?
Yeah. Well, that gets lowered down after you.
Yeah.
You go first, you try and catch it. And it was a crazy experience.
And obviously you need a parachute with this, yeah?
No, but that was one of the wildest ones I've ever done. It was massive.
Go on.
No,
go. As you sit at the top, having got yourself into that position, what goes through your mind? What do you have self-talk, or do you just know that you're going to be fine?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, by the point that I've gotten in my kayaking gear and I'm at the top of the waterfall, there's no doubt, because if you have that, then it's not going to go well for you. So by the time I've committed to it, I'm no longer scared, I'm going to do this, and I have all the key things in my head to do, and then I'm just trying to really slow myself down with my breathing and stay calm and just make sure that I do the things I need to do. But in the lead up to it, deciding whether I could do it, that's really stressful.
And before you attempt, and obviously we can see that you're talking about the preparation, how many days and weeks in preparation before something like that?
Oh, mate, I mean, I feel like my whole career and life leads up to those big moments on the really big waterfalls, and like small micro skills and small things in your personality come out in those situations. But right now I'm preparing for a project in northern Russia, and that will be over 18 months just training for this one. So
what's going on here?
So
you're on your hotel roof.
We're on the hostel roof. This is me learning how to abseil, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't own any of the climbing equipment. I just know that I need to abseil down to get into a position to kayak off that waterfall. And we met someone in the bar that knew how to do it, and this is my friend Walker Davis now. And Walker's a really nice guy, but he likes to engage in several things that are not legal in this country, but legal in America. So Walker smokes a lot of marijuana, and here he is telling me how to thread the rope through to abseil off the roof. And you can see how I'm looking, and you sort of see the stoned face of Walker. And I've got the rope, and I'm like, "Are you sure this is right? Is this in the right place?" And he's American, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you're fine, you're good, send it." And I'm like, "Are you sure that this is in the right? It's clipped in. Am I okay?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you need to do this." And he puts the rope in the carabiner, and he's like, "Okay, man, you're good, send it." And I was like, "Oh God." But I really wanted to do the waterfall, so I had to figure out how to abseil, and I did it, and I didn't fall off the roof of the hotel, which I was delighted about.
And what was the impact like? So you're free falling down this what wasn't a huge. This is the view from the top, is it?
Yeah, mate. This is me abseiling down to do it, and I had been stressed about this the most. Once I was on the water, I felt quite confident. I knew what to do, how to deal with everything. And I was stressed about the abseil, but it was going really well. And I had the Mission Impossible theme tune in my head. I'm just loving it, I'm leaning back on the rope, and I'm like, dum, 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 really feeling confident. And then the rope fell in the water and got pulled downstream, and that started pulling me downstream into the water as well, which would just be horrific. I can't think of a worst case scenario to deal with, being stuck on the end of a rope, being dragged down a waterfall. And yeah, this is me trying to deal with it. I'm trying to pull the rope in, but not let the belay device go.
The slack of the line, yeah.
Exactly. So then I'm wrapping the rope around my neck, reeling it in, and I was meant to be on that rock ledge there on the right-hand side. You can see how the water's pulled me into the middle. And so then I've gone from being really cool and feeling very confident to utterly terrified and sort of just trying to swing myself over to this rock ledge.
And you're on your own right now here?
Yeah, there's guys up top, there's guys below for safety, but I'm just on my own. No one can help me, and I'm sort of doing this this swinging motion to try and get over onto the rock ledge. And eventually, I just about make it and put my foot on it and then get out. I have to wait over an hour for the kayak to come, and I'm just in this cave above the waterfall waiting to get the chance to do it.
Just you and your thoughts.
Yeah, which is a wild place to be. And then finally, it was time to do it. And that was one of the most beautiful views I've ever had. Really looked like the edge of the world coming out of the canyon. It's all dark and scary into like the beautiful clear pool below. And I had never done a waterfall this big, neither had anyone from the UK. And that's me dropping in at the top there. You can sort of see the colors. And there I felt really confident, and setting your angle off the lip of the waterfall is often the most important part. And sometimes you sort of have to fight it and correct it. But in this instance, everything just went so smoothly, and I transitioned straight into it, and I was like, yes, we're good. This is going to work out perfectly. And so I held on to, I did all the things I need to do, and then right here you can see me in the color. Right about there, I'm tucked up for impact how I normally would off a little bit of a smaller waterfall, and I'm waiting for what feels forever. And you've got to keep your head down, you know, because if you sit up and you take that impact, then it's going to really hurt. You want to make yourself as small as possible and really get low over the kayak. And I'm tucked over the front, and I'm like, bloody hell, we're still falling, you know, like I can't believe it.
Because obviously the water's making an impact into the pool.
You know it, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Huge forces at the bottom of the waterfall. And I couldn't believe I was still in the air. And then, you know, bang, I took the impact, and the paddle broke on impact, which is impressive because they're made to be really, really strong. And I was just so stoked and so relieved. It had been months of working towards that, and it happened. And I think people thought I'd hurt my arms because I just couldn't put them down. I was just so stoked. It was just like this for maybe an hour afterwards.
Well, you deserved it. I mean, look at the size of that thing.
Yeah, mate.
And what was it like once you were down into the water? Did you pop up quite quickly, or?
Yeah, I mean, every waterfall is different, but this one I popped up really quickly. But I took a huge hit, like absolutely massive.
And when did you start to feel? Obviously, there's a certain amount of euphoria going on here. You step out and you just realise what that has done to your body.
Exactly. Well, there's more rapids and waterfalls downstream, and we've been hoping to complete the entire section. And I had a friend that was going to do this with me, and I felt great when I landed, ready to go. It took like 2 hours for him to get his descent down the waterfall as well. And by the time he came down, I was sore. I realized my thumb was probably broken, and just was not in a good position to kayak more hard rapids and waterfalls.
And before this, you were 6'3", 6'4". What was it?
No, this height forever.
Well, that is such an impressive jump. I mean.
Yeah, man, that was a really special moment, and I was really happy to do it as a UK kayaker and to put the UK kayaking scene on the map internationally, because no one had stepped up over 100 foot until that point. So that was cool to do, but it's just so beautiful to be involved with that piece of nature. You know, it's such a beautiful waterfall, and to get the chance to experience it was magic. And that was a big launching moment for me and what I do. And basically there it was like my dream was coming into fruition. You know, I was working with photographers, so that the images people were capturing were just beautiful. I was traveling around the world.
And how long ago from now, 2022?
That was 6 years ago, something like that. So
not long ago.
Not too long
wonderful.
ago. But yeah, mate, I was really happy, and this is what I do now. You know, it's like I get to kayak and chase my dream, and as long as I capture content and media of it and share it, then I get the ball keeps rolling, and we get to go from destination to destination. Which, when I was 15 years old, that's all I could ever want in my entire life, and it's still basically all I want.
Do you still get a buzz out of just slipping down a local weir, or do you need the hit of a big fall now?
Man, I just love being out on the water. You know, I love every single side to it, whether it's just hanging out with the kids at the local kayak club and seeing how stoked they are, or really pushing it on big scary things. I love everything and all of the stuff in between too.
Well, that's certainly what we believe here at BoatLife, just mucking about in the water, in it, on it, over it.
You know it, mate. More pictures. I always love when the water's this color, and I think, that just transforms it to me. A lot of times it's sort of muddy and brown and polluted, and sometimes it's beautiful, crystal clear blue water.
Are there any stunts in the UK, in the British Isles, that you've got up your sleeve that could be inventive? from how, where's the limit?
Absolutely. There's so many places in the UK. We're really lucky, but the hard part, and people struggle to believe this, is like the rain. Like it rains a lot in the UK, but to get it at the right time and the right amount in the right place is a little bit tricky. So there's definitely spots and waterfalls that I've been trying to hit in the UK for the past 10 years, and I've just never managed to time it right with the water levels, because you never know when a storm's going to come in, or when it's going to rain, or if it will, or whether it will be enough, and all the other stuff. But yeah, there's so much potential here.
Were you out on Friday?
Yeah, I was actually.
Cool. Don't tell me where you were. You were.
There's a.
Go on.
I love the Weather Channel, especially when they're telling me what I want to hear. But there's a huge storm, and one of the biggest in several years.
Well, that must have been fun. So what next? I can't believe I'm asking you what next. Like, I want something more impressive. Come on.
Well, man, that's my life, and I'm stoked on it. Of like chasing big waterfalls and kayaking around the world. But the thing I'm really starting to realize is that I think I might be one of the last generations to get to enjoy that as it is. Because we're losing so many rivers every year to hydro projects, and everyone thinks of hydro as a clean energy, but the truth of it is that it's a cheap energy. Like here they're destroying a valley. I don't see anything environmentally friendly there, and there's so many. Like the amount of power that most of them will generate, especially in the UK, is negligible. It won't even power your hometown or your city, maybe 20 or 30 houses. And here they're destroying a river in Austria, which we've been fighting for the past 2 years, and that's going to go ahead. And they're actually going to divert the water from this river over the mountain to another valley, and then use it to make energy as it pours back down the other side of a mountain. It's just crazy how we're manipulating nature and really, really closing it down with the sport. This is one of the most famous places in the world for kayaking, out in Ötztal in Austria, and they're just killing it off. It's gone. So that for me is, although I'm trying to push it with what I do, with my crew and all of that stuff, we're also working hard with more environmental movements and conservation. And that's what I hope to do more of in the future as well.
Yeah. Is there a compromise? Is there places that both could happen?
I mean, there's different sides to every argument, and I love the water and the rivers and the natural cycle so much that I would hope not. But when you look at, like, the weather has changed considerably in the lockdowns and when industry is cancelled, so you can see that we have an effect on the weather, and one of the ways we do that is by interrupting the water cycle. And so for me, the thing that makes our planet unique is it's got so much water. With a blue planet, and that's great to play in and stuff, but that's what sustains life. So I don't think it makes sense to tap into the water cycle and manipulate it.
Well, Bren, let's get this slide off because it's upsetting me.
Okay.
Please tell me, so you've got a number of things going on. You're passionate about the environment. You're passionate about jumping off large waterfalls. But I can also see the adventurer in you. Sometimes what's it like walking in and getting your kit and your base camp before you attempt some of these things?
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of it. It's all part of the story and the moment and the lead up to it. And yeah, I love it. My favorite stuff is when we have to hike into places with the kayaks, and it's really difficult. And the whole time you're just fighting your brain, and it's telling you can't do it, and you keep going, but you can. And
covered in mosquitoes and machete and
leeches, yeah, all of that stuff.
Do you have a map on a wall at the home with all the amazing places you've been?
I don't, but like my Google Maps profile is impressive.
Mine says Waitrose.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, chasing waterfalls, trying to look after the planet a bit more with what we do, and then just trying to get kids into it. Like if I think back to myself when I was 15 years old, my life would be very different if I didn't find kayaking and pursue it and love it. So trying to get more kids into the sport and create more opportunities, especially in developing countries, that's one of the biggest goals of the next course of my life,
Now, of course, it's an Olympic sport. Kayaking is an Olympic sport. Have you ever thought of going down that competition?
I don't really.
It's too restrictive.
I don't really like being told what to do.
Right.
And I feel like some sports fit really well into a box, and you can make a stadium and you can, police it and control it and make it all, follow the rules and fit the box. But my side of the sport, it's just not meant for that, It should never. I'm not into competitions at all. You know, I just like doing my thing, enjoying the water and being out there in the nature. But yeah, that's
it's another side of it for sure.
Totally, yeah. So I think it's cool that people compete and people watch it and stuff. But there's just a whole different world to kayaking than what you see on the TV and the competitions.
Well, you're obviously giving back from where you come from, and you know, giving back into the sport. That must be quite a really rewarding part of what you do.
Trying to, man, but you know, I think you've definitely just got to help people out and be nice and be supportive of people. And I feel I never really had that when I was a kid. You know, everyone was just telling me, no, you can't do that, and it won't work out, and you won't make any money, and all that stuff. And it will. You know, you just have to be willing to go for it. And the few people that were really kind and polite and supported me, they made such a massive impact on my life. And that's what I'm always trying to do when people are stoked on kayaking, especially.
Now, I'm a sailor, and I've spent a lot of time crossing oceans and sailing. When I was at school, I was lucky enough to do a bit of surf kayaking down at Westwood Hoe, and I loved the rollers coming in. The rivers kind of scared me a little bit because there were branches and weirs and things, and I loved the freedom of the sea. Do you get out onto the sea much?
I do, yeah. You know, like I was saying, with the rain and water levels and everything, it's quite hard to get like good, powerful rivers to train on. But the ocean is always there. It's normally got a good set of waves somewhere around the coast, and yeah, I try and get out on the ocean.
Certainly on Friday there was.
Oh my God, it was actually too big for me. I didn't go out there.
Let's have your next slide.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's the last slide right here, I think. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Yeah, that's me messing around with the local kids in Indonesia at the end of a film shoot, and they were so stoked on kayaking. You know, they'd never even seen tourists in that part of Indonesia, and they were just stoked to be involved and to mess around. And I think it's so cool that they were so keen on it. And yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes from The Wind in the Willows, which I think a lot of you know. And I agree with it. You know, I don't think there's anything better that you could do than to mess around in boats or kayaks and just have fun out on the water.
Tell us some of your low light.
What, sorry?
A low light, when things weren't great.
Oh, mate, I mean, I've been so broke, struggling to buy food. Sleeping in the rain. You know, sleeping rough in the city. I mean, there's been a lot of low points, but never felt like a low point. You know, because I was just so happy to be lost in the process of just chasing the thing that I wanted. And I don't know. I think no matter how bad you think you've got it, someone somewhere has it way worse than you do. You know.
And of course, with every low light, there has to be the highlights. And I'm sure you've had many, many. But can you pick one out?
One highlight? Oh, man.
I know that's a really tough one.
Yeah.
So choose one randomly.
Man, like the waterfall descents are really, really special to me because of the risk that they carry and how rewarding it is when it goes right. But honestly, the thing that I'm most proud of is that I can just get on the water in my kayak in any situation and feel at home and confident and just share how stoked I am for it, no matter what it is.
Amazing. We're going to come back because I want to ask you about what you're going to do next. You're talking about organising another trip. But have a think. Have we got any questions for Bren? Go on. So we've got a technical question. Just repeat the question for our audience.
So I think it was about how to control your kayak in the air off waterfalls, and absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is the top of the waterfall is where you have the most impact in how your line goes, and sometimes you can get it right and just set it perfectly off the top, and you barely have to do anything on your way down. Just hold the position, and then tuck for landing. And other times you make a mistake, or the top of the waterfall is different to how you thought it would go, and you have to pull your nose up, push it down, change your angle, do a bunch of small stuff in the air. But when you're in the air, every movement is amplified, you know, so it's very easy to do too much and make it way worse. And that's where all the time and experience comes in, you know, of like just knowing just enough, just how to fix it just enough, but not to ruin it. Yeah, body, paddle strokes. I mean, you're trying to get pressure on your blade, you know, and then when you've got pressure on the blade, then you can move your body and control yourself as you go down.
Any other questions, sir?
The highest one by far is 186 foot. That's called Palouse Falls. That's in America, and it's only been done by the Americans. And that thing is just a freak of nature, honestly. Like the characteristics change so much with water. And although that thing is absolutely massive, and it's so impressive that they did it, it's very friendly. It's very easy to control your angle on the way down. It's absolutely huge and so impressive. But it's got a lot of things in its favor, no matter how big it is. Yeah, on the list of things to do.
Go on.
Waterfall's obviously appeal, and you have that hack with that. What else, rides your adrenaline? Is there anything else you could kayak over that really...
So what other challenges, not just waterfalls?
Absolutely, mate. I mean, I mostly one of the things I love most is just rapids, and you can see that on any river, just like water going around the rocks, and it's just beautiful. Those are my favorite days on the water, is long days, lots of rapids, and that's also like one of the most rewarding things in our sport. Waterfalls get a lot of the attention, but just moving downstream, interacting with the rapids, that's one of the best.
Now, Bren, before we wrap up, tell us, you alluded to your next project. What can you let us know? Is that Secret Squirrel?
It is a little bit secret, but I can talk about some of it. But it's basically the dream project of myself and my two best friends, and my best friend who's the main organizer of this project. I mean, we used to live together in a Volkswagen Passat. It cost £1,500. It rarely did it turn on. It was just rubbish. And we used to live in this thing and travel around and go kayaking and just dream of that like project with the helicopters and, the budget for proper filmers and for it to be on Netflix and all of that stuff. And it seems like it will finally happen.
And that's coming together for you.
That's going to come together, hopefully. And that will be in northern Siberia, above the Arctic Circle, and kayakers have explored everywhere. Kayakers have been everywhere, but they've...
Can I ask a favor?
Yeah.
Would you come back next year at BoatLife and tell us all about it?
Yeah, mate, I would love to come back here for sure.
Well, I'm pretty sure we can open up that invite.
Yeah, mate, that'd be great. Let's book it in.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. I've really enjoyed this chat. I don't know much about kayaking, but you have totally blown my mind. I cannot wait for you to come back next year and tell us all about it. We've been really blessed for you to drop in and share your experiences. Bren Orton, everyone, thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
And that wraps up our stage chats here at BoatLife 2022. Please come back next year and support us. It's been a great show. We've really enjoyed talking about everything and anything to do with boat life and hanging about on the water, on it, under it, and over it. So look forward to seeing you next year, and travel safe. Thank you.